What's up? Yeah, last video felt a little bit weird. Anyways, today guys, what we're gonna be doing is going through every single special weapon in Fortnite and ranking them from worst to best. Now, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the normal, classic, just basic weapons of Fortnite, like your shotguns, your SMGs, your assault rifles, your snipers, all those sorts of weapons. But then you've got the weapons that don't fit nicely into that category. Explosive weapons, the Zapper Tron, the Infinity Blade, literally all of the Avengers weapons, and not to mention a whole bunch of other weird things. And that is exactly what we're going to be looking at in today's video. The weapons that don't really fit into a regular category, and what I like to deem the special weapons. And basically the way that we decided to classify what is special and not is just weapons that don't use light, medium, shotgun, or heavy ammo. The only weapon that does use one of those and got a pass was the boom bow, because it makes literally no sense that that thing uses shotgun ammo. I mean, come on, it's a bow and arrow. What? Anyways though, with all that said, that is the topic for today's video. If you guys could please subscribe to the channel, help me out, 2.75 million subscribers, that would be most appreciated. And now, let's get into it. All right, so coming in at the lowest spot on our list, it's actually going to be the weapon from a vehicle. And this is the pirate cannon. Now the pirate cannon is certainly not a normal traditional weapon in Fortnite, and neither is it very good. The reason that this is such a bad weapon is it's just purely inconsistent. The pirate cannon is very hard to hit with, you're very vulnerable, it takes a long time to reload, and it's just very difficult to aim. It almost feels weird even classifying it as a weapon, but that's exactly what the spirit of this video is. All these weird weapons that just don't fit into your traditional idea of what a weapon is in Fortnite. And while you can certainly get a lucky kill with a pirate cannon once in a while, it's very difficult, and most of the time you're gonna end up dead. Now moving on to number 30, this is the poison dart trap. So the poison dart trap, in my opinion, is one of the weirdest items that was ever added into the game. When hit, it did 10 damage for a total of 8 seconds, leading up to 80 total damage. Now it actually had pretty decent range, being able to cross 3 whole blocks, but still, it wasn't very good. Now there were a very few minor situations where this could be helpful, especially early game, but really I never found this to be a very useful item. I mean, why would you want to use a poison dart trap that does 80 damage in 8 seconds when you could just land a spike trap and do a whole lot more damage a whole lot quicker? It was kind of like a nice defensive trap, but really most of the time just never actually worked or helped you. It was hard to hit with and just not so good. Now coming in at number 29, this is going to be the bottle rocket. The bottle rockets, it's pretty bad. Now the bottle rocket also did 10 damage per second, but was actually capable of killing an enemy quite quickly. I mean, that is if your strategy involves just standing completely still while you're taking damage. I mean, the bottle rocket might do a few points of damage, but it was very hard to land a consistent amount, and for that reason, it really wasn't an effective weapon. I mean, it was never intended for that, as it was more of a building destroyer, but at the end of the day, it really was quite ineffective. Like, yeah, you could get a kill with it, but most likely not. The bottle rocket had one of the shortest spans in Fortnite, from the 7.3 update being removed at the start of Season 8, and for good measure, it was pretty trash. Now coming in at our number 28 spot, ladies and gentlemen, as the most common weapon in Fortnite, this is the pickaxe. I think it's safe to say I would rather try to get a kill with a pickaxe than any of the last 3. I mean, 20 damage, very poor range, but you know, it's got unlimited ammo, and the pickaxe is always there for you. Early game, it is not at all unrealistic to get a kill with a pickaxe. I mean, realistically, if you and another guy drop on the same rooftop, you can get that first pickaxe in and you're guaranteed a kill. I mean, unless he gets any sort of gun whatsoever. But I mean, hey, in the off chance that he picked up a bottle rocket, poison dart trap, or pirate cannon, I would probably bet on you to win that fight. But I don't think he could beat a crossbow. And that is why at number 27, we have the crossbow. Now, just for the sake of your guys' enjoyment on this video, I chose to include all the crossbows together because they are all equally pretty terrible. But the thing with the crossbow is that if you manage to land a headshot, you're going to get a early game kill and at least a ton of damage off the player if they have full shield. So really, like, Not a great weapon, but it's something that you can kill with if need be. Now, the crossbow also had unlimited ammo, which was kind of cool, I guess, but at the end of the day, it was a pretty poor weapon. But at the end of the day, the crossbow took bolts, and that is not regular ammo, so that is why it makes the list. Now, moving on to our number 26 spot, this is a tie between the ceiling trap and the wall dynamo. So these were the original versions of what the spike trap is now for the ceiling and wall. They made a lot of noise, and that's really just their biggest issue. They were clunky to use because you could only use it on a certain surface rather than the spike trap now, which can go anywheres. So really, they just weren't very effective in any way, shape, or form. Not a useful weapon, and really they were just pretty poor. And the spike trap that we have today really was a nice upgrade. Now, coming in at number 25, we have the X4 Stormwing. So just recently, we actually did a video talking about all the best vehicles in Fortnite, and the Stormwing did very well as a vehicle. But just as a sheer weapon, it's gonna get a pretty low ranking. Now, the X4 Stormwing was a very annoying weapon to fight against. A player could come in and spam their turret, which did 30 damage a shot, and most often, hope to hit maybe 1 or 2 shots, taking off 60 damage. It's not something that you would ever get a kill with, but it was annoying in the sense that now you have 60 less health than that enemy. So it was an annoying weapon. It was good for softening up an opponent, but at the end of the day, I very, very rarely ever got an actual kill with this weapon, and that's the whole point of this video. I mean, when you're going up against something like the Thanos Gauntlet, which is on this list, it's kind of hard to really rank a Stormwing very high. Okay, coming in at number 24, we have grenades. You throw them, and they blow up. Done. At number 23, we have clingers. You throw them, and they stick. Done. Now, the 22nd spot is going to go up to the proximity grenade launcher. In my opinion, the worst of the handheld explosives. The proximity grenade launcher, I've always said, is a weapon that feels really overpowered when another player has it, but really bad when you have it. You might get 70 damage off of it, right? And that is like, damn, 70 damage right there. But you also got to think, that's like 2 shots from any regular AR. 2 shots is very common to hit. The proximity grenade launcher is easy to use as a noob, but it really doesn't have any advantages to use if you're a better player. So in my opinion, it's just a pretty useless weapon. Now, coming in at number 21, we have the Airstrike, a weapon that I thoroughly did not enjoy. It was okay. I feel like the Airstrike was a weapon that I ended up killing myself a lot more than the enemy, and at the very least got killed by the enemy's Airstrike a lot more than I killed other enemies. This weapon could be very overpowered, especially for a noob, as you could just throw it on 2 guys build fighting and it would absolutely decimate them. But at the end of the day, you could only carry 1. It was kind of difficult to get kills with without killing yourself. And really, in my opinion, just not a very memorable weapon. Again, especially when you're comparing some of the absolutely insane weapons that have graced Fortnite. And coming in at number 20, we have the grenade launcher. I literally say this in every single video, but the grenade launcher is not a good weapon. It's just an alright weapon. You get a whole bunch of explosives downrange, throw off the enemy, and maybe land 100 damage or another 100 damage on another enemy, something like that. You're not often going to get a kill with it, but it's good for shaking things up and really, again, just getting a lot of explosives in an area. Again, kind of like an airstrike, but I would much rather a grenade launcher over an airstrike. Now, number 19, we have the turret. Dude, the turret can honestly be overpowered if you know how to use it. Early game, the turret will absolutely devastate people. Literally just post up with a turret and you'll wreck everybody. It's this weird weapon that is really good, but also really bad. It's so easy to just die in it because you're standing in this completely still spot. You can get sniped through it. You can just take a shotgun to the head. And really, in that sense, it becomes not so good. Very offensive, but you have literally no defense. And for that reason, it's only going to get 19. Now, coming in at 18, we have the quad launcher. Like the grenade launcher, less damage, but more precise. I like the quad launcher over the grenade launcher just because it was a little bit more precise. You don't have grenades bouncing everywhere and coming back at you. You just kind of shoot it in the area and, you got a little mini airstrike. was a pretty good weapon. Also, I'm realizing we have a lot of explosives on this list. The quad launcher was nothing amazing, but again, it was kind of annoying to play against, really good at breaking an opponent's structure and maybe getting 70 or even 140 if you land 2 shots on your enemy. And now, if you had 4 guys that weren't very good standing close together, you could easily get a really nice quad kill. And at the end of the day, it was a good weapon. I enjoyed it, but not something that I truly miss. Hello? Okay, my camera just died. What? Okay, I don't know how long my camera's been dead for, but moving on to number 17, we have the stink grenade. Question: how bad do your farts have to be that it causes physical damage? Now, stink grenades are obviously chlorine gas, the stuff used in like World War I and stuff, but they couldn't just be like, yo, here's this really terrible thing. So it's like fart in a can. Wink, wink. The stink grenades are actually really good. I am a huge fan of these. I think they're great for throwing an enemy off, and more so than that, just causing them to panic. People really don't like taking those 5 ticks, and when you get a nice one on someone, it's incredible how quickly they panic, make bad moves, and open themselves up for a free kill. It's like a boogie bomb, but it does damage. Stinks are really nice. I'm a huge fan of them, and sadly, they're only coming in at number 17. Because again, we've got a lot of insanely overpowered things that are up at the top here. Okay, now at number 16, we have the C4. Now, this is a weapon that I really do miss. It's been a while since we've seen these guys. Absolutely insane at destroying structures. I don't think there's ever been an explosive that was this good at taking down structures. And on top of that, sometimes you might be lucky enough to get a free kill out of it. Now moving on to number 15, we have the spike trap. The good old reliable spike trap. Feels good when you get a kill with it, and really bad when you get killed by it. Spike trap is a classic. Some people consider it to be a little bit OP, but I feel like it's a perfect part of the game, and fits right in at number 15. Now at 14, we have the storm flip. Storm flip is spicy. Like a stink, but just covers way more area. This is amazing for just causing absolute chaos to an enemy, unreal for late game encounters, and really just, in my opinion, one of the most effective items in the game. Not overpowered though, they don't feel overpowered. You can play against them, but if you use one right and someone's caught in a lot of structures or maybe in a building, you can take off a lot of damage. And moving on to number 13, we have the RPG. I mean, good old faithful, it's been in the game since launch. Does a lot of damage, is easy to counter, but if you play it right, it's a free 100 damage, and it's just a solid weapon. Now moving on to number 12, we have the guided rocket. So for this video, I kind of wanted to use the best version of the guided rocket, because we're always pooping on the guided rocket, and you know, I want to look back to when this thing was truly a beast. I mean, you could fly, zigzag, zoop, zap all around the map and like literally just kill anybody. In my opinion, the original guided rocket was very anti-Fortnite, as you literally just sat in a corner and drove this thing around, but there's no denying it was good. It was amazing. It was really effective, and in my opinion, one of the best weapons in the game at its peak. It certainly had a fall from grace as it's slowly been nerfed into the ground, but for a time, it was really good. Now coming in at number 11, we've got the most recent item to drop into the game, and this is the Junk Rift. The Junk Rift is really freaking overpowered. I've heard Tfue say he would rather take on a mech than someone with a Junk Rift. It's a thing that just shoots up in the sky and drops death from above. Like, I literally just, it is almost impossible to counter this thing. You just have a giant thing that crushes all the structures, fall on top of you, and there's not a lot you can do. I would say that this thing is probably going to get a vault in the near future, but we also have mechs in the game, so it's kind of hard to say what Epic is going to do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the weapon you've all been waiting for, coming in at our number 10 spot, we have the Zapper Tron. So the Zapper Tron is a really fun weapon because it's a gun, but it used a different sort of ammo known as energy cells. That alone, in my opinion, just makes it really freaking cool. This is a weapon that you guys always ask for in my ranking guns video, and I never include because it was only in the game for a day, and not a single one of you out there watching this right now ever used it. It was in the game for less than 24 hours when Fortnite probably had less than 1 million players. So if there's anyone out there that says they used it, I'm not going to give you a cookie. I'm just going to call you a liar because you didn't. But the Zapper Tron is a perfect weapon for this list. It is the ultimate special weapon. It's a gun that shoots laser beams. I mean, it was really the inspiration for this video. Big charge up, does 100 damage of shots. I mean, it was good. I would say like as good as a sniper. Sometimes I think that people get this weapon to be a little bit overhyped, but it was at the end of the day very good. But not as good as our number 9 spot, which is the Boombow. Boombow is the highest ranked weapon on our list that is not either a vehicle or from an LTM. The Boombow is godly. The Boombow is beautiful. It is like one of my favorite weapons in Fortnite, despite it being so overpowered. Dude, when you had this thing in Team Rumble, and towards the end of the game, no one's getting shields, and you're literally just picking people off, it is a great feeling, but man, was this thing overpowered. Truly one of the best weapons to ever grace the regular game mode, the Boombow is still only coming in at number 9. Because at number 8, we have the Infinity Blade. Oh yeah, okay, the Infinity Blade. It gives you 400 health, 75 damage a shot. What is more OP than that? One of the weapons that caused the most amount of outrage ever in Fortnite is only coming in at number 8 on our list. Because you may be forgetting, ladies and gentlemen, we've got all of the Avengers weapons. Which leads me to my number 7 spot, the Chitauri rifle. Now, I might be persuaded that this thing is even better than 7, but I think I'm gonna leave it right here. So it's got its explosive cannon, which was pretty good, but the real thing we gotta talk about is just the main rifle, which did 75 damage a shot. Now, in the LTM, this wasn't that much, but if you compare this weapon to any other weapon on our list, you'll quickly find that it is ridiculously overpowered. Doing 75 damage a shot to a normal player would kill it in 3 shots, and it had a DPS of 340. The highest DPS of any weapon to ever enter Fortnite was the tactical SMG with 260. So it would have been pretty ridiculously overpowered in regular Fortnite. Now at number 6, we have the Mech. Yeah, the Mech is only coming in at number 6. What the? I mean, a whole whack of health. The ability to just absolutely decimate any player you want to. The Mech is pretty good. A little bit overpowered, one might say. It's got a whack ton of health. Great mobility, a shotgun. Oh, and let's not forget those missiles. Missiles that feel like the equivalent of having a nuke dropped on top of you when you're on the receiving side of them. Yeah. Pretty overpowered. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, we've got 5 spots left and 5 Avengers weapons. The Avengers weapons are so much more ridiculously powered than any other weapon to ever grace Fortnite. They're literally just claiming the top 5. At number 5, it's Captain America's shield. 175 damage a shot, added mobility, and you get a shield. Now, I don't think the shield would really be all that effective, but honestly, just the ability to whap someone for 175 would be pretty hard to play against in regular Fortnite. I mean, we have to compare all these weapons on the same stage, and really the only way you can do that is normal Fortnite. Captain America's shield would be very hard to fight against, but in my opinion, not as hard as Thor's Stormbreaker, because Thor's Stormbreaker did 200 damage a shot. That's just, you're running around at full health, and you would just be gone. Added mobility, you could also throw it again to do a little bit less damage than Captain America's shield. This thing would be ridiculous. But that means it's the Infinity Blade on steroids. Now, while these last 2 weapons were very OP, Hawkeye's Stormbow is going to be in at our number 3rd spot. So basically a Boombow, again on steroids. This thing is stupid. 200 damage a shot. Could you imagine if this was in actual Fortnite? 1, you have the mobility of a god with the Grappler, and 2, 200 damage a shot. You're just sending fully shielded players back to the lobby in a single click. Like, that would be absolutely insane. Even if someone gets close to you, just like kind of bop it down on the ground and they're gone. They're deleted. This thing was so freaking good. It did so much damage and really was just a lot of fun to use. But at number 2, this is going to be the Iron Man Gauntlet. So the Iron Man Gauntlet only did 45 damage a shot. Not as good as some of the ones we just looked at, but it had auto aim. Could you imagine auto aim in regular Fortnite? Just be an Iron Man, flying up through the air and just pew, 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 you're dead. This is something that may not have had the range or just the easy killing power, but if you could just auto lock onto players and use these things in a regular game, which we got to give everything an even ground to base each other on, this would be stupid. Iron Man's Gauntlet was absolutely insane in the LTM, and I think in a regular game, it would have just been even so much more ridiculous. So it's got to get that spicy ranking. But coming in, ladies and gentlemen, at our number 1 spot, this is going to be Thanos Infinity Gauntlet. So in the original Infinity Gauntlet LTM, the Thanos Gauntlet did 105 per second with the laser beam and then 80 per punch, which really might not seem like that much, but it was freaking good. But with the second version of Thanos in the endgame game mode, he had 4,000 health. 4,000! Every time you killed a player, he would regain shield, and this is without a doubt the most overpowered weapon, I guess, to ever grace Fortnite. One of the only ever 7 mythic items to ever grace Fortnite, and without a doubt was the most overpowered. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the end of our video for today. If you guys did enjoy this one, please make sure again to subscribe, leave a like, and I'm just gonna say thank you for making it all the way through to this one. Wasn't supposed to be this long, but there were a lot of weapons. Anyways, that's it. Thank you guys again, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.